Hey folks, my name is Jürgen, aka Nerd and Proud of It, and Destiny has brought you to my channel today to enjoy a chat with Ryan.
Hello.
It's good to have you on the channel.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm very happy to talk to you. We had a little chat before. The sound quality, unfortunately, was a little bit difficult with all the comic fans around you.
And we said, let's fix it.
Let's fix it. You did. That's the true Canadian in you, I think. Like very kind and very helpful and actually taking the time to fix it and record this again.
Sure.
I really, really appreciate it, honestly. Of course, we have to talk about the Fantastic Four, your work for Marvel, and I'm very, very curious how it was to take over a book that has been first published in 1961, I believe.
61, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. My knowledge is okay. Sometimes my mind, leaves a little bit open there, here and there. But how was it to take over a book that has been running that long and that is that popular?
I mean, it's it's terrifying, right? Like anything you write, it's going to be compared to Stan Lee, Jack Kirby,
Yep.
Mark Waid, John Byrne, Hickman, Slott. Like everyone who's written Fantastic Four is part of that story. I'm gonna wait for the siren to go by.
No fans today, but the Dutch police. But
Yeah.
that's okay. Yeah.
They heard I was about to give out spoilers.
Yes, they already are
On the
onto
case.
you.
No, but like,
that's Marvel for you, right? So,
yeah, no, but it's one story since 1961, and so you want to do a good job, and you want to do something that can live up to everything that's come before. And there's been a lot of big cosmic epics. So I thought, well, I'm not going to out Hickman. I'm not going to out Slott. Let's do something smaller scale, short stories, because at least then you can go in a direction that, if it hasn't been done before, at least hasn't been done for a while.
Yeah.
And you can find your own way to put a spin on these characters, because it's something that you do for everyone, but it's also something you want to feel like you can do your best work and not imitate what's come before and not play the hits.
No, I think that's a very good way to approach it. And you said you approaching it with short story arcs, and to me personally, when I read the book, it leaves me with a very satisfied experience. Once I've read, like, I can jump in wherever I want, and then I read one or two books, and then I can put it aside for a couple of days and then jump in again. Is that done on purpose because the whole background is so big, like you just said? There's a lot of heritage there, but now you're approaching it at a little more smaller scale, and that makes it a little easier for you as well, but also very satisfying.
I agree with you, except for the easier part.
Oh, okay. It's even more difficult.
I pitched the book I wanted to read, which was short stories. And I say smaller scale, like they still save the universe, but it's usually wrapped up in one or two issues.
They still save the
universe. Still save the universe. And I realized while writing issue 3 that the book I wanted to read, the book I pitched, was short stories, little sci-fi premises, little twists, family stuff. But when you're writing it, you've only got 20 pages.
Yeah.
And in those 20 pages, I want to introduce a big science fiction idea. I want to explore it. I want to have a twist, a satisfying resolution. I want some relationship stuff. I want to explore the relationships, have some moments of recognition there. It's a lot to cram in with those 20 pages I've got. So it's really hard. It's satisfying, and I love doing it, but it's a very tricky process to get through. And so I'm glad it's been so well received, because it is the hardest book I've ever written, but also among the most satisfying to try to get that to work every single month.
That sounds fantastic, and it is very well received.
Thank
I
you.
mean, it's been running since 2022.
2022, yeah.
Yeah, and you're at issue 32 right now. So
Issue 33 out next week, yeah.
Yeah, next week actually, yes. So you could say it's very successful. Do you have a lot of issues planned already?
Yeah, I mean, the way any book works at the big two, or at least at Marvel, is you're on the book until you quit or you're fired.
Yes.
So you never know quite how much of a run you have. But that said,
enjoy it while it lasts.
Enjoy it while it lasts. Do your best work while you can. But I do have 10 issues written ahead of schedule.
10 already?
So,
wow.
Yes.
Nice.
So there is at least, unless something catastrophic happens, there's at least 10 more coming out, and more beyond that too.
And it is not certain these 10 will be released when Marvel...
Oh, it's pretty certain.
It's pretty certain,
yeah.
Okay. So the next 10 issues you have planned that are actually, those are really like planned into the production line.
Yep.
That sounds awesome. No, I think the book definitely appeals to a very broad audience. I told you before that my daughter reads it as well.
Yes.
And I think it's very cool that it crosses that generational gap, especially because of the more short story arcs. You can just jump in, and that of course appeals to the younger audience with a little less attention span.
Sure.
But that was not intentionally planned by you, just to focus on a certain target group. You actually, obviously, I think as a writer you write it for everybody, but sometimes you got like a person in mind that might be happy to read this.
The person in mind is always me.
It's you.
I mean, that's the only way I know to write, is write something that you'd enjoy reading. And you're always your first beta reader, right? Like if I don't think the story is good, I'm not going to send it in to my editor.
No.
So it has to be something that I enjoy reading. And I don't think you can, at least I can't, write to an imagined person that doesn't like the same things I do, because then feels like I'm making someone up, and there's an insincerity there, I feel. So I've been lucky enough that the stuff that I'm interested in at least has a larger audience for other people to be interested in.
I can very much relate to that, and I think that makes you your biggest critic as well, right?
Oh, you have to be. I mean, if you only ever want to send in work that you're proud of, then you have to be willing to look at your work and be like, this isn't very good. I need to fix this. I need to make this good. And that's a good process to have. You're always your own first editor, and you write a draft and you think, this isn't doing what I wanted to do, so let's revise it until it is.
That sounds like
part of the job.
It's part of the job, but I can imagine it's a very fulfilling job, because you are able to be creative, right?
Yeah.
And you are a very creative person. You have done a lot of comic books. You write normal books as well. I think the last one, I have ordered it last night. How to Take Over the World. Is that your news?
Yes, that's my
book?
most recent one, yeah.
Yes, I have ordered it last night because
thank
you mentioned it. Yeah. And I think it's very interesting, because you now, of course, write One World Under Doom as well.
Yes.
And I always try to read as much as I can, but as you know, with family and with a busy job, sometimes it's not possible. But last night I actually read the first 2 issues of One World Under Doom.
Oh, great.
And I really, really enjoyed them. Doom is arguably my favorite villain.
He is mine too.
Yeah, so did that... he is your favorite villain too. That's I'm gonna come back to that, because I'm very interested about that. But I first want to ask, did writing that book, How to Take Over the World, prepare you a little bit for the Doom arc?
Oh, it did. When I first got an email from my editor, Tom Brevoort, saying, are you interested in doing a story about Doom taking over the world? I felt like I did all the research. I spent 2 years researching all this stuff. So yes, I'd be happy to. I've got some ideas. So it was very much a nice parallel. In fact, the opening of How to Take Over the World, the introduction, I say there Dr. Doom is my favorite supervillain, because he's a sorcerer, he's a scientist, he wears a cape, he dresses like a scary robot, he speaks in third person. All this stuff comes together really nicely. And that was before I was even thinking about Fantastic Four. So it's not like me angling for the job, it's just, I think this guy's great.
Okay, no, but that sounds like a really good preparation for the book. Talking about then the preparation of the Doom book and the Doom arc, One World Under Doom. It is your favorite supervillain, and I think I'm more into the old stuff. I read new comic books as well, but honestly for me it's mainly the 80s, because that's what I grew up with. But I remember Doom's first appearance, I think is even book 5 or something, 1962.
He shows up very early, yeah.
Very early.
And he's fully formed. Like he's recognizably Dr. Doom.
Yes. How is it to have the best supervillain in the Marvel Universe and actually be able to shaping his story after more than 60 years?
I mean, it's great. I think that the fun thing about Doom is he is a guy who's never said the word in his entire life, right? Like he always knows what he wants to say, and he knows how he wants to say it. And so with most characters who aren't Doom, you can't really write speeches all the time, because people don't speak in speeches. They talk like I do, where they stop and restart and half-finished thoughts and find their way through as they go. But Doom doesn't. Doom speaks like he's orating, like he's delivering words. And so every time you get to write Doom, you can write someone who speaks like they're talking to a crowd of millions when he's just ordering a cup of coffee. And the other joy of writing Doom is that he speaks in the third person sometimes. And with most other characters, that would be camp. It would not read as scary, but Doom makes it read as scary. I think of an example, there's an issue, Fantastic Four, and also in One World Under Doom, it shows up in both books, where he describes the Thing, Ben Grimm, as, and also say, a man transformed by error and ineptitude. But Doom will say, a man by error and ineptitude transformed.
Okay.
Because it sounds cooler, and it feels like an actual speech he's giving.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. I just read, of course, that in issue 2 he wants to cure Ben Grimm,
yes.
And he actually does, and he
That's
really feels
appears.
like, okay,
yeah.
That's what you mean. So I thought you meant that, but that is Doom. He really feels like he's doing a good thing, which throughout the whole book, of course, he feels. I think, it is a fantastic opportunity to have a character like this. In general, even in the first 2 issues I just read, I found a lot of humor, and I read a couple of reviews of your book, which all were very positive.
Oh, good.
And they talked a lot about your humor and sarcasm as well, approaching it, of course, how to take over the world in a little bit of a funny way. But I saw that in the comic as well. Like, for example, when Spider-Man and the Flame, the Torch talk about Flame on the invisible airplane right in the first book.
Yep. Yep.
Is that humor a big thing in a very, like, of course, heavy storyline, which is talking about changing the world?
Mm-hmm. For me, it's who the people are. Like, Johnny Storm's a fun, funny guy, and yes, he's appearing in a serious story, but the more you keep the characters at the focus, as long as they behave like themselves, you can have them do almost anything.
Yes.
The second they start behaving not like themselves, readers are like, well, this isn't Johnny Storm, this isn't who these people are supposed to be. So you always need to have the character first. That's at least that's my idea. Is if the people are true to who they are, then the story will feel good and feel like it's authentic.
Is that why you introduced the persona dramatica, the persons or the characters in the beginning in the book? Like it to me feels a little bit like a theater play where
that's interesting.
In the beginning the people are presented that actually take part in the storyline of this.
That's actually Marvel. They want, and I think this is great, they want every book to be accessible.
Okay.
And so if you don't know who these people are, you've got that thing, oh, that's the Human Torch, that's Doctor Strange.
Nice.
It gives you a little bit of an on-ramp so that you don't need to feel like you have to do homework to enjoy this story. You just, here's your players, let's see what they're up to. We're off to the races.
I think that's a very good way to make books accessible, yes,
Thank you.
Agreed. What are you currently reading yourself?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's always a very big question because it might be a lot. I often start a lot of different books and I'm always behind. That's why I just started like One World Under Doom because I just don't have the time to, back in the day, I didn't have money to buy comic books. Now I have the funds to buy, but I don't have the time.
That's how they get you.
It's always a dilemma.
Yeah, there's tons. I mean, in comics, I've been really interested in what they're doing at DC with the Absolute stuff, and also Marvel's got the new Ultimate Universe.
Yes.
For me, what I like about both of these is you all have these ideas of who these characters are, these archetypes. And it's always interesting to see what happens if you tweak one thing or change one bit, what comes out, because they're still them, they're still the same people, but there's this freshness and sense of possibility you can get when you're untethered to what has come before. And it makes me think of, this is going to sound weird, Weird Al's music.
Yeah.
Because he will do a note-perfect parody with different lyrics. And there's this thing he does when he's doing parody lyrics where he will have his rhymes rhyme with the original song.
Yeah.
So the parody lyric rhymes with what was originally there. And there's no word for it in English, but it's this sense of rhyming with another text that isn't physically present. But when you catch that rhyme, it's really satisfying. It's like, oh, I get it. You feel like you're on the inside. It clicks in a way that we always want things to click when writing. And when you read these ultimate or absolute stories, you get the same sense of something's different, but there's a rhyme to what's there before, and you're like, oh, there's that guy.
That's very interesting. Does that help you with all the crossovers? Because not crossovers, but the One World Under Doom, of course, has a lot of different books referencing the story. And you find an oversight of that in the back of the comic as well, like all the other books that are, and Marvel of course does that very well for a very long time, that they tie into the whole universe. But finding that rhyme and rhythm, does that help with the 9-issue series, connecting it to everything else?
Yeah, for me, I've often been on the other side, right, where someone else is writing an event and you're tying in. And I wanted to make it as easy as possible. I didn't want it to be hard. So instead of, if someone says what's happening in month 6, I didn't have to say, well, I think this will be happening. It's like, here's the script. The whole event's written. Here's the exact script that's happening in every month. So you know precisely what is going on, so you can write to that and tie in. Try to make it easy for people.
You have everything planned out, and you just distribute. Okay, yeah. You distribute that to everybody.
Yeah.
Is it a lot more difficult for you to use, because in the Fantastic Four the characters are very versatile but a little bit limited, so you can focus on 1 or 2 at a time, especially with the shorter story arcs. But now in One World Under Doom you got like sometimes 10, 15 characters, a lot of people. Is that a different approach then, because you have to give everybody their moment?
Yeah, it's with Fantastic Four. My approach is, you can go in this book knowing nothing, and I'll show you who these characters are by pairing them off and exploring their relationships one by one.
Okay.
There's no time for that in One World Under Doom, because you have the Avengers, Fantastic Four, like everyone is there, and so there I'm relying you to know a bit of like who Iron Man is. I can't introduce you all the way to Iron Man, but hopefully you'll know, because it's all these big characters, the gist of them, and then you'll see them reflected on the pages.
I hear you, and I think that comes across very well.
Thank you.
Ryan, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I won't take up much more of your time because I really, really appreciate you made that happen. Thanks a lot
my pleasure.
for letting us into your universe a bit. Let me tell you as a last thing that I'm very jealous that you get to work on Doom, because I think despite him being a supervillain,
he's a horrible person.
Well, he is a horrible person, but what makes him so attractive to people? Because I always enjoy reading about him, and I sometimes admit I have to sympathize for him.
Well, he's ridiculously charismatic, I think. Like,
yeah,
just the mask, and the fact you never see his face gives him the mystery. The cape, the dramaticness, the flamboyantness gives him this charisma, and the way he speaks, this oratory, gives him this magnetic attraction. Like, there's no other character like him in fiction.
No.
And because he has this singular kind of sun around which all the other villains orbit, it's always fun to do that.
That is a great way to finish the talk. It's always fun to do. Folks, thanks a lot for listening again. Stay healthy, stay frosty. I talk to you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.